Hello, hi, what's up? Happy Friday. Can you guys see me and hear me? Hello. Hi. I saw Gypsy, Tipsy, Cole, John, Gala, Scott. Hey, Lori Loves Life. Good to see you. Happy Friday, everyone. We're going to cover Tiffanie Lucas sentencing. It was this morning. If you are not familiar with the case, make sure you watch part 1 and part 2. We covered her interrogation and the body cam footage. She's a mother from Shepherdsville, Kentucky, who unalived both of her boys. And first she blamed it on social media. And then she blamed it on, she was going to claim it was insanity. But she ended up saying she was guilty and she was sentenced today. So we're going to cover that. I know. Yes, Cole. Hey, Clark. Good to see you, love. I'm glad you made it, beautiful friend. Hello, beautiful Augie. All right, let me know. I'm excited to watch this. I have not watched it. I was on a panel yesterday at my friend Fatty's show, and then I was on one today. I'm going to drop that link. You guys can go and check it out. It's a little bit more of a wild channel, but very fun. So that's why I came on late today. But I plan to go live a couple times tomorrow. I'm going to be covering Diddy. There's a new case I want to cover. I'll probably be going live a couple times tomorrow. So I hope you guys can make it. It's the weekend. It's rainy here. So it's going to be a true crime day for me tomorrow. Hey, Prime. Good to see you. Yes, Clark. I have heard from her. Not sure if you're familiar with Discord, but I have a Discord, so you can join it. And she's in there. And hey, Tony. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. We're covering Tiffanie Lucas sentencing. So let me know if you guys can see it and hear it, okay? I'm excited to watch this.
This is Tiffanie Lucas. This is case number 23CR404. The record will reflect that the Commonwealth appears today for the 𝗟𝗶𝗃𝗲, the 𝗟𝗶𝗸𝗲. The defendant appears today with the Honorable Richard Lonzak, the Honorable Jonathan Villavicencio. The matter is before the court
Thanks,
today
John.
for sentencing. Mr. Taylor, would the Commonwealth like to make any opening statement?
Your Honor, the Commonwealth waives an opening statement.
Would the defense like to make an opening statement?
Your Honor, we would also.
This crime is brutal.
Who would the Commonwealth call?
Well, they all are, but
Commonwealth would call Richard Beal.
Detective Beal or Detective Beal, sir, would you come around here to the witness box? Watch your step as you step into the witness box. When inside, please go to the front of the chair. Raise your right hand, sir. Do you swear or affirm the testimony which you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you, sir. Please be seated. Make yourself comfortable. Pull up to that black microphone and speak loudly when questioned. Mr.
yes,
Taylor,
R.I.P.
whenever he is seated and you are ready, you may proceed.
Mr. Beal, state your current name and occupation for the record, please.
My name is Richard Beal. I'm currently a police officer for the Jefferson County Public Schools.
And what was your occupation on November 8th of 2023?
I was employed by the Bentwood County Sheriff's Office and assigned to the detective division.
Thanks, John.
So did you
Appreciate that.
investigate the deaths of Jayden Howard and Maurice Baker?
Yes, sir, I did.
And Would you briefly describe how you investigated the incident on November 8th?
Yes, Clark.
I was notified of the shooting. I responded from our detective's office to the scene at 213 Bentwood Drive. Upon my arrival, when I arrived, one of the children was already in the ambulance. The other one was in the, had been removed from the bedroom to the living room where EMS and fire were currently working on them. So,
and what was the nature of their injuries?
Both of the victims had received gunshot wounds.
How many gunshot wounds?
One each.
And did then EMS transport them to Norton Children's Hospital?
Yes, sir, they did.
And is that where they passed away?
Yes, sir.
And the suspect in this case, later defendant, was Tiffanie Lucas, is that correct?
That's correct.
And was she tested for gunshot residue?
Yes, sir, she was.
And what was the result of the gunshot residue examination?
The examination, the testing was performed, of course, on the day of the incident. And it appears that I'm looking for a date.
So yes, Clark. She unalived both of her boys, shot him in their home in the bedroom. Like I said, she said it was due to social media and then insanity, and then she pled guilty. Yes, the back and the front of the head. I'll pull up the pictures in a minute.
Date that I received it with. I've got the results set right here from the Kentucky State Police Central.
There
Lab.
she is. I wanted to see her.
The examination requested was identification of gunshot residues. The results and conclusions, and I'll read them. Particles containing lead, antimony, and barium were found on the lips from item 17, Tiffanie Lucas. Such particles are characteristic of gunshot residue from a discharged firearm.
Hi, beautiful Britt. Good to see you. Glad you made it.
Next paragraph, particles containing lead, barium, or lead antimony were found on the lips from item 17, Tiffanie Lucas. Such particles are consistent with gunshot residue.
Hello, traveling.
But may also originate from other sources. Gunshot residue can be deposited on the hands by discharging a firearm.
Detective, is there any doubt in your mind that Tiffanie Lucas was the person who shot Jayden Howard and Maurice Baker?
There's no doubt at all.
No further questions.
Mr. Lana Zach or Mr. Villa Vicentio?
Yes, if you guys haven't seen the first, I did 2 lives on her with body cam footage and basically a deep dive on it. Here she is on the screen. I want to show the pictures of the 2 boys. They're precious right here. Look at how cute and sweet they are. I don't understand. I don't understand. I'll never understand these crimes.
Your Honor, we have no more questions for Detective Beal.
Is this witness free to be excused?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. You're welcome to stay in the courtroom or leave the courthouse. Please 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗏.
I don't believe I see Mr. Donnelly, so I will
Yes, Augie.
proceed to
Thank
call the
you.
victims at this point. I'd first like to call Regina Rowland.
Roland. Ma'am, would you please come forward to my right in the witness box over here? Watch your step as you step up inside of the witness box around the corner there. When you get up in the witness box, raise your right hand.
Oh,
Do you
no.
swear or affirm the testimony which you are
I think
about
this
to
is
give
the grandma or the
will be the truth,
sister
whole truth,
of
and nothing but the truth?
the dad. the
Thank you,
boys.
ma'am. Have a seat there in the black
One of
chair,
them.
make yourself comfortable. Pull up to that microphone as close as you can, and please speak loudly when questioned. Mr. Taylor.
Ms. Rowan, I understand you're very upset, so if you need some time to compose yourself,
Oh my gosh.
we'll allow it. Would you like to proceed?
I'm ready.
Oh my gosh.
Ms. Rowan, you are Jayden's grandmother, is that correct?
Yes,
And would you like to address the court with your victim impact statement?
yes.
Oh my gosh.
When you're ready, go ahead.
You know we love Jayden and Maurice.
Oh,
You know Jayden was the only thing we had left, and you took him from us. You know I had already lost his dad, and then my other son. And then you took Jayden. You have ripped our lives apart. And you know that you could have gave them kids to us, and we would have took care of them.
we saw that in the interview, right?
But you have been selfish. My heart is in pieces. And you know that you have always had a place to drop them off.
My heart.
You took him from me, and I hurt every day. Every second of the day, I hurt. And I hope they give you 2 life sentences without the possibility of parole. I want you to suffer just like I'm suffering right now.
You tell her, Grandma.
They did not deserve that. You took my little man from me. And we all love him so much. Jayden and
Good to
Maurice.
see you, love.
Oh, I remember the time he called me. Nana told me he loved me. And it took him forever to come up with me. But Jayden is our blood. Oh God, oh Lord, give me strength.
Oh my gosh, this is rough.
You have hurt so many people, Tiffany. Jayden had cousins that loved him. Melody and Torn. Torn sleeps with a teddy bear and a picture of Jayden every night.
Oh my gosh.
I don't have nothing else to say. She just knows she knows she done ripped us apart.
Mr. Taylor, any additional questions?
No other questions.
Any questions from the defense?
No,
Is this witness free to be excused?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you, ma'am. You're welcome to have a seat back in the courtroom or leave the courthouse. Who does the Commonwealth call?
Her composure, wow, I would have jumped over that and probably catch a charge there in the courtroom. Hey ATS, good to see you. I mean, I don't know how she could do it. Glad you made it, ATS. Good to have you back. I know. Are you guys crying? I'm crying. Evil women. Yes. Yes. So I did want to mention that it has been a year since those little angels passed away on 11/8. So we recently just had the 1-year anniversary. Maurice Baker Jr., 6 years old, and Jayden Howard, 9 years old.
Call Bobby Baker.
No, he hasn't shown any remorse.
Could you please go around the witness box, right up this way, around over here. Watch your step as you step up inside the witness box. When you're inside, Please turn around, face me, and raise your right hand.
It's sad.
Do you swear or affirm the
She has a
testimony
smug
that you
look
are
on her
about to
face.
give will be the truth,
I'm
the
sure
whole
of that.
truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Have a seat in that chair.
Yeah.
Make yourself
Shot them in their
comfortable.
bedroom.
Pull up to that microphone and speak loudly when questioned. Mr. Taylor?
Ms. Baker, what is your relationship to the victims in this case, the two little boys?
I'm an aunt.
Of-
Maurice,
of
Maurice, but I consider myself Jayden's aunt as well.
Understand. Would you please reiterate that statement for the court?
Tiffany, on November 8th, 2023, you changed the lives of two beautiful boys. You broke my brother's heart, my heart, and the heart of anyone who have encountered them. Jayden and Maurice didn't see you for who you really are. They loved you so much, but at the end of the day, you became what children their age fear the most, a monster. Not for 1 minute do I believe, like you said, you were in a hard spot. You had support in so many ways that you could have used. Like I often told you when we spoke, being a good mom is also making a decision that you can't give the boys the best life and allowing another parent to step in. But you refused to do so selfishly because it wouldn't align with what social media saw. Instead, you decided to play God and decide the boys' faith. I often see these court shows where the defendants are forgiven by the victim's family, but not today, not by me. I will never forgive you. I struggle and often wonder what else kind of pain did they endure at the hands of you before you ultimately took their life. Part of this statement I was gonna write, I hope every day you close your eyes that they haunt you, but I don't. You don't deserve to see them and they shouldn't see you. If he decides to give you any kind of leniency today and grant you parole at some point, bitch, I'll be there at every parole hearing. Do you hear me? I'll be there at every parole hearing.
Oh my God.
Ma'am, Ms. Baker.
I like her. I do like her. Hey, Yashira, good to see you. Happy Friday. I'm glad you missed it. Yeah, we just started a few minutes ago, like 15 or so. Hey, Jojo. Yes, nasty, nasty person. Hey, Tony Golden. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. Yes, I believe they were awake, and I don't believe there was anything crazy going on. It was like middle of the day, 3:45 p.m. or something like that. So she claimed Wi-Fi and Facebook made her do it, and video games, and then she claimed she was insane, and then she just finally said guilty. It's sick.
Just a
Hold
moment.
on. They may have more questions.
I have no further questions.
Is there any questions from the defense?
No, you're not.
Then you can go ahead and leave now. Thank you. Mr. Taylor, who is the Commonwealth candidate?
𝗍𝗠𝗃𝗀.
I agree, Yashira. Oh my gosh, this is so
Ms.
heartbreaking.
Crawford, would you please go around past the witness box and watch your step as you step inside? When you're beside the witness box, please turn around, face me, and raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony which you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you. Please have a seat in the chair. Pull up that black microphone as closely as you can and speak loudly when questioned. Ms. Taylor, Mr. Taylor?
And Ms. Crawford, what's your relationship to the victims in this
I'm
case?
his aunt.
Maurice,
Yes.
and what would you like to tell the court?
I just want to tell the court and mainly Tiffany that you took away our chance to have a relationship with my nephew. When my brother calls me, I wonder how he's doing, and I answer the phone so quick. I hope he's okay, because I remember how you broke him. So at 12:30 at night when he calls me, if I don't answer that phone, if I don't see that phone call, I'm in such agony because I wonder, is he okay? Do you need me? That's my answer to him. His son is gone. You can never bring him back. And there is nothing and no amount of time that this court could give you that is fair. Life expectancy is about 70 years. You took 60 from them. Anything less than 60 for both of them or each of them is not even enough.
I don't think so either. I love these family members of them.
No.
I don't think 2 life sentences was enough, but I don't know. Hi, beautiful Sarah. You made it. Yay. Good to see you again, love. Yeah, Jojo, I don't know how they read those statements. I would either be really upset, which would probably make me angry, or like crying my eyeballs out. Yeah. I mean, being angry makes me cry. So I would probably, be crying and screaming. I couldn't speak to, it's rough. Not be able to peel me off of her if that was me, right? I think we're all kind of in the same boat. We don't condone violence, but it's hard to imagine being in that position unless you've been in that position, right?
Thank you, ma'am. Is she free to be excused?
Yes, Your Honor.
You may either go back to your seat or leave the courtroom. Who would the Commonwealth call next?
𝗍𝗶𝗸𝗲.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I want to see her face.
Rayleigh?
Ready.
Ray. Ms. Ray, would you please come up to the witness box where the other folks were seated? Watch your step as you step inside. You're up on the platform there. Turn around, face me, and raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. You can have a seat there, make yourself comfortable, but pull up that black microphone and speak loudly when questioned. Mr. Taylor, whenever you are ready, you may proceed.
Thank you, Judge. For the record, her last name is Reddy, R-E-A-D-Y. R-E-A-D-Y.
Ready, okay, thank you.
Ready, like
Ready.
ready to go.
Ready. Thank you.
And Ms. Reddy, what's your relationship to the victims? And which young man?
Maurice.
What would you like to tell the court?
Actually, I wrote something out that I would like to read.
Oh my gosh.
Sure.
Hey, Scott.
My heart's racing. First, I would like to say
Hey, Carla.
thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak. Second, I would like to say it was really hard to even gather the words or just sit down and write. I couldn't even write it.
I agree, life artist.
I had to, literally was driving in my car, which is bad, it's a distraction, and text it. And first, like I said, I would like to thank you, Judge, for allowing us the opportunity to express what words simply just could not describe. This last year has been an emotional roller coaster for my whole family and for the community. Most of all, my brother. I simply can't fathom what he must think or how he must feel waking up every day, trying to put the pieces of your life back together after suffering such a loss and a tragedy. It's difficult to even mouth the words that my nephew was killed, that he was murdered. He was murdered.
By his own
By
mother.
someone that was supposed to be a protector, to love him unconditionally. Personally, I've suffered from anxiety this last year with just the thoughts of what they went through leading up to that. I don't believe that this was an isolated incident where they were being, that there weren't other things going on that they were dealing with. Again, I suffered anxiety with just the thoughts of what he must have felt, the things he may have experienced leading up to the death, if only walls could talk. As I mentioned, I'm being treated for anxiety. I'm seeing a therapist. It's difficult to close my eyes at night. I didn't get much sleep last night. Some days I've had trouble getting out of bed just to process it all. No one, and I mean no one, deserves to go through this. No matter what the motive or the reason, you had options. You had options you chose not to take. There were resources. There were resources you chose not to take. Regardless if it was drugs, regardless if you were dealing with depression, people deal with that every day. It was a choice you made not to get help. There was family you chose not to contact. I reached out to you on Facebook at one point.
Ugh.
So even if you didn't have my number, I offered actually anytime because I already knew whatever the relationship, you wasn't gonna let anyone see them. But you had that option. You bypassed every option you had and instead you decided to be selfish and take their lives. Those were things you dealt with and you chose not to get help. And I ended my thoughts there.
Questions?
No further questions,
Your
Your Honor.
questions?
No,
Is she free to be excused?
Yes, Judge.
Thank you, ma'am. You may continue.
I bet there's a group of good women in the family. I see she could have given these boys away if she didn't really want them. Yeah, she actually didn't have custody of the boys at some point. One of the dads did. So yeah, she could have gave them away. Hey, Chris, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Oh, I'm so mad, Jay. I'm so mad. For real. Good to see you, Jay.
Who does the Commonwealth call next?
Samaya Jones.
I don't think anything could. I don't know. I might be too harsh, but
Jones, would you please come around this witness box here? Once you step, as you step up, when you're inside the witness box, please face me and raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you, ma'am. Have a seat in the chair, but make yourself comfortable. Pull up to that right microphone as closely as you can and speak loudly in question. Mr. Taylor?
Ms. Jones, what's your relationship to the two young men that were murdered
Cousin,
and to both of them? And what would you like to tell the board?
The selfish act that Tiffany committed on the morning of November 8th, 2023 has caused everyone, I feel like especially my aunt and my cousin, like I can't like really speak right now because it's so hard to process everything that's been going on.
Take your time.
Especially like when we dealing with other problems and then this, it's just like
I agree, big girl for life. And Sarah.
so hard to process right now. I'm shaking trying to talk, especially like just sitting here in front of her, seeing her, it's hard. And waking up like every morning and realizing what's really happened, that it's true, and that it's no bringing them back is really hard to deal with.
Is there anything else you'd like to say to the board?
I just wanted to ask Tiffany, did you ever love your boys?
Oh my God.
Did you ever like,
Can you imagine?
how long have you been planning
She's
this?
probably like, send me back to my cell.
That you'd be able to do is somebody that you love. Especially with you being their mama. You're not supposed to do this to your own kids. I don't have kids myself, but I know this.
She's not even crying.
You're supposed to protect
Why am I not
your
surprised?
kids. You
Gosh.
hurt them.
I'm gonna have to like jump through the screen.
And you took the precious pain. It's been hard. It's been hard for me to focus in school and everything else because it's like of putting questions racing through my mind every day. Like, I had so much stuff that I wanted to say, but now that I'm right here, I can't actually say it because it's just so much going on through my head at once.
Would you like to say anything else?
Any questions? Any questions from the defense?
No.
Is she free to be excused?
Yes, Your Honor.
On the
She'll free yes, sir.
Augie, my love, thank you for gifting. I appreciate you. You're amazing. And welcome Edith to membership. Thanks for being here. Love you, Augie.
Thank you, ma'am. Who does the Commonwealth call next?
Nikki Gregory.
Jay, it's not gonna happen again.
Ms. Gregory, would you please come around to the witness box? Watch your step as you step
Wait,
up
what?
inside of the witness
I see you.
box and give your
I see you,
side.
guilty.
And then face it. Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth?
Oh my
and nothing
gosh,
but
this
the
is
truth?
heartbreaking.
Thank you. Have a seat. Make yourself comfortable in the chair. Pull up to the microphone.
Cried, you're crying. I'm about to cry. I don't like to
Speak
cry
loudly.
on camera or have
Ms.
people
Gregory,
see me
what's your
cry.
relationship to the two young boys?
I have to shut it off.
Sorry, you just very hard to look at her right now.
Before we get started, again, let's just show a little love to these beautiful boys, 11-8. It was just a year of an anniversary of their death. That's really sad. I could cry just looking at those pictures right now.
I was Jayden Howard's stepmom.
Ma'am, I can't hear you.
I was Jayden Howard's stepmother.
And what would you like to tell the court?
Okay. I have been in Jayden's life since he was 6 months old. While I'm thankful for the time I had with him,
It's a
it was
stepmom,
too short.
right?
My daughter, Charlie Howard, is 4 years old, and she has already lost her father, and he took her only brother. Both very tragic. Now I have to explain what happened to him by the hands of his own mother. I enjoy dropping him off and picking him up from school. I enjoy playing his favorite songs on the way home. I would cherish our family vacations at the beach. He was so scared of the ocean waves that all he wanted to do was go to the pool. And he swam so much that he would be asleep before the sun went down. I will miss his smile and his laugh.
Good night, John. Thanks for being here.
While I was pregnant, Jayden was very protective and loving of my stomach. He would rub and kiss it. He enjoyed being a big brother to little Reese, but now he was going to be a big brother to a little girl. My daughter will not be able to share any family vacation experiences. She will never be able to call him to tell him to come over and play with her. Now all she has are pictures and a dinosaur stuffed animal he used to sleep with. And now the pictures are going further and further back on my phone. Throughout the years, both sides of the family tried to help you with your drug addiction and your poor choices. Countless times. You have been neglecting them, and both sides try to put those kids in a better place. You want to play the crazy card, you want to act like you couldn't handle life. Them boys had the support and love they needed. They didn't need you. What you did was evil, selfish, and hateful. There isn't anything the judge can sentence you to make this easier. Them boys were innocent, and I wish you were facing the death penalty. You don't deserve to breathe the same air as
I agree.
us. I wish they would bury you under the jail cell. You don't deserve a tombstone. You don't deserve to be remembered. But since that isn't an option, I hope the judge takes your freedom and never, ever gives it back. I hope he doesn't fail the boys like the system has this far. He wouldn't.
Is there anything else you'd like to say?
Any questions from the defense?
No, no.
Ma'am, you're free to leave the spot. You can remain in the courtroom or leave the courtroom. Who does the Commonwealth call next?
Commonwealth calls Brian Donnelly.
Mr. Donnelly, will you please come forward, sir?
Thank you, Big Girl for Life, for gifting. Yay, Britt Nicole, you got it. I appreciate you very much. So, yeah, the system did fail him, and I don't know. I'm sad. This is sad. Appreciate you, Big Girl, very much.
Mr. Donnelly, if you'll go to the witness box, watch your step as you step inside. When you're inside, please turn around and face me and raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you, sir. Have a seat. Make yourself comfortable. Pull up the microphone. Speak loudly with questions. Mr. Taylor, whenever you are ready, proceed.
Mr. Donnelly, state your name and occupation for the record.
Ryan Donnelly, probation and parole officer with the Department of Corrections, the state of Kentucky, in Bullitt County.
For
Probation.
purposes of this hearing, I assume you know that Ms. Lucas has pled guilty to 2 counts of capital murder.
I do.
And what is the sentencing range for capital murder in the state of Kentucky?
The sentencing range is from 20 years to life and life without parole.
And on the question of parole eligibility, when would Ms. Lucas
Haven't seen any of it,
become
Jay.
eligible to be evaluated by the
I missed
parole
it.
board?
Should the sentence be in years,
Yes.
the maximum that could be combined would be to 70 years, and she would be eligible for parole after 20 years.
She should.
And that's an 85% crime. Would you go into a little more detail about?
85%, but with the maximum of 70. So the state sets a maximum of 20 years. So this one would actually be less than 85%.
And is the same true of the sentence of life?
With life, it would be
Okay.
the same.
Let's talk,
Life
Sarah.
without,
I'm interested.
without the possibility of parole, it would be a sentence of her natural life.
Thank you. No further questions.
Yes, this was this morning. Edith said, is this a recent case? It happened 11/8/2023. So it's been about a year. Yeah, Jay, I missed it. I was busy, so I was eager to watch this. Tiffanie Lucas, disgusting Tiffanie
Questions
Lucas.
from the defense?
Yes, Your Honor, very briefly. Mr. Donnelly,
I'm
you
being mean.
testified that the range for non-aggravated murder in Kentucky is
20 to 50, I misspoke.
okay, and life or life without the possibility of parole.
Correct.
Are you aware that life without the possibility of parole is not an eligible sentence without an aggravator?
Correct.
Okay, so the maximum sentence applicable here today is
Her and Jen
life.
Soto should be besties, huh, Jay?
If they do not find an aggravator, that would be correct.
Hi, Alexandra. Hi,
Uh,
beautiful. Thanks for being
You had
here.
said that
Appreciate you. It's
you
good to
spoke a
see
little
you.
bit about this, the
Tiffany.
statutory range and when Ms. Lucas would become parole eligible. Are you aware that sort of the parole board's statutory ability to pass somebody to defer them later on down the line? Are you aware that if somebody is convicted of a life sentence, the parole board can
1980s,
ask
Sarah.
them to serve the entirety of their sentence after one parole hearing and have them serve out and never see them again?
Correct.
But in every other case, for every term of years, the parole board has to give the person a maximum deferment of 10 years before they reconsider their case.
Correct.
Thank you. Nothing further, Your Honor.
For those of you not caught up, I have a part 1 and part 2 with body cam interrogation and stuff. So if you guys want to know more about it. I don't know, for those of you who are new, these are the 2 little boys who lost their life at the hands of, I guess their mother. Wouldn't call her much of that, but
Any questions?
No further questions.
See free to be excused.
Yes.
Mr. Wonsack.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Donnelly. Mr. Taylor, who would the Commonwealth call next?
No further witnesses, Your Honor.
Will there be any witnesses for the defense?
No, Your Honor. We appreciate that this is sort of a hybrid sentencing hearing where this is, because the issue of sentencing is open, this functions more as a sentencing hearing trial would, but in keeping with a sort of more traditional hearing. We only have arguments where we incorporate our investigation and things we've learned over the course of the case.
Thank you, sir. At this time, prior to closing argument, then, have you had an opportunity to review with your client the pre-sentence investigation report prepared by the Division of Probation and Parole?
We have, Your Honor. We can approach very briefly on this issue.
I was going to fast forward it, but I was hoping we could see her face reaction.
In closing from the defense, additional on the pre-sentence report.
No, Your Honor.
All right, then, anything in closing from the defense?
Yes, Your Honor.
I agree, Alexandra. Oh, there it is. Yeah, zoom in, Monica. What do you guys think?
On November 8th, 2023, Tiffanie Lucas shot and killed her two sons, Jayden Howard and Maurice Baker Jr., while she was in the throes of a psychotic disorder that had been going on for days. Throughout the course of this case, we investigated and interviewed dozens of witnesses. And we certainly don't deny the victims in this case their perspective and their grief. But in the dozens of witnesses we conducted, we spoke with friends and family members, neighbors. We spoke to strangers who only ever saw Tiffanie in her worst moments, in the throes of mental illness.
Oh, she's crying now.
And the refrain that we heard over
When
and
it's about
over
her?
again
Oh my
is that
God.
Tiffanie Lucas
Gracie,
was a devoted
I
mother
love. You guys heard everybody
showed
laughing
her
in the
love for her
background?
children.
Oh my God.
Folks,
Hold on, I gotta rewind
This
that.
is a
Like
court of
1
law.
second.
Don't deny
Oh my
the
God.
victims in this case their perspective and their grief. But in
Definitely
the
agree,
dozens of witnesses
Alexandra.
we conducted, we spoke with friends and family members, neighbors. We spoke to strangers who only ever saw Tiffanie in her worst moments, in the throes of mental illness. And the refrain that we heard over and over again is that Tiffanie Lucas was a devoted mother who showed her love for her children.
folks,
That's like,
this
I don't
is a
know.
court of law. Outbursts will not be tolerated. Now, if you cannot maintain
Hey, Top
your
Cat. Good
composure
to see you here.
while the other side
Thanks for
presents
stopping
their
by.
argument, I'm
Appreciate
going to
you.
ask you to leave now. I don't want to hold anybody in contempt. That's not what needs to happen at this point. But I cannot allow you to continue your outbursts in the court. So if you need to leave, now is your opportunity to leave. Keep them, and any further outbursts can be and will be treated as.
All right. The judge is being.
Go ahead, Mr. Lonside.
Your Honor, in the dozens of interviews we conducted, witnesses told us over and over again that Tiffanie Lucas was a devoted mother whose love for her children shone through in the ways that she cared for them. No one could have imagined that Tiffanie would have hurt those children.
Okay, but she did.
We've come before the court today to address the open issue of sentencing and ask the court to consider fully the circumstances of the case and determine a just, fair, and reasonable outcome. At the end of today's argument, we're going to ask the court to consider a sentence of 35 years in prison.
35 years for
No,
2 boys'
Before I
lives.
get
That's a
through
joke.
the rest of my written materials, Your Honor, we have prepared a short video highlighting
Good
Mrs.
thing I
Lucas's
wasn't in that
behavior
courtroom.
on November 7th and 8th that we think highlights her mental health crisis.
35 years. Please. Please. Sir, I know you're just trying to do your job. Absolutely not.
This is her house. Blue, I'm sorry, I think you're in my life. Blue, you need to go. This is my place, not yours. You need to go. I need you. I need you. Yeah, I need you. God is talking to me.
I can barely see what they're playing. Oh. She's so a day before she executed them. No, I don't. I think she got 2 life sentences. But the defense attorney is asking for 35 years. So they're trying to prove that there was some kind of mental health issue. They're getting food. So the server at the diner is saying that she wasn't acting normal, but the kids looked okay. She was like out of it at the restaurant. So she was high or something? I'm not sure. Or are they trying to show she was having a mental break? Is that what they gave her, Jay? That's ridiculous. She was reaching out for help, but nobody knew what she was doing.
Who's this? Is she okay? Where's the kids? Okay. She's a boy. That's the parent. $120. I got one female at the same. No. Are you injured? Huh? No, are you injured? What you got going on?
She's literally not even reacting. It's kind of
She's
creepy.
good. Go give me a kiss. She's good. She got nothing on. I'll check it, bro. I'll get up for something up.
Oh, there we go.
You want to say right? Because I've already trained this one. That's the mom. So, can you tell me what happened there? So I guess not in there. So I just went in there and found something like that. Where's the guy at? It's still in there. So they never shut me. Okay. Yeah.
I agree on you.
Hearings? You what? You shot yourself in the ear? Which ear? I don't see anything.
Love you, Sarah, my beautiful friend.
There's nothing there. Okay. Read. All right.
That's when she hit her head. She didn't know what was going on. Yeah, she has a possibility of parole, but like Susan Smith, right? She probably won't get it. I don't think so. Dragonfly, what's up? Good to see you. I appreciate you being here. Yeah.
Your Honor, we know that Tiffanie Lucas was psychotic.
Appreciate you.
Sir. Can I address the question? I didn't want to speak at first, but can I speak? I'm Maurice Baker Jr.
Okay. Have a seat. Let me get this gentleman finished. Go ahead.
Your Honor, we know that Tiffany was psychotic on November 8th because her behavior before, during, and after, some of which you've just seen, supports it, but also because we were able to have Tiffany evaluated by Dr. Philip Resnick. Dr. Resnick is a renowned forensic psychiatrist. He's also one of the foremost experts in the country, if not the world, on the topic of filicide, parents who kill their children. We submitted Dr. Resnick's CV to the court. I won't belabor it here, but he was able to interview Ms. Lucas.
Would you approach the bench, Mr. Taylor?
Yes, sir.
No emotion. Looks like she's crying now.
Resnick on November.
Take a 10-minute recess. All right, Mr. Lonizak. Oh, wait. Yeah. Mr. Lonizak, you may proceed, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, we were discussing Tiffany's evaluation by Dr. Philip Resnick on November 16th, just 8 days after the shooting while she was still experiencing her psychotic disorder. Dr. Resnick went on to conduct interviews of family members, review extensive materials, including the materials provided in the investigation by Detective Beal, records, reports throughout the length of the case before reaching an ultimate opinion. Dr. Resnick learned in his interview with Tiffany that she was experiencing two co-occurring and powerful delusions in the days leading up to the shooting.
Delusions?
A person experiencing this kind of psychotic break can't distinguish these fantasies that their mind has concocted in the mental illness from reality. There's no mechanism that she could have to pull herself away from her deep-held belief that these things that she was feeling and experiencing were as real to her today as this podium is in front of me. Or was as real to her then as this podium is today. I apologize. First, no. Tiffanie Lucas suffered a delusion of grandeur. She believed that God was speaking to her and had chosen her for a higher purpose. On November 5th, she went to see her aunt and grandmother. And while she was there, she saw scripture written in the bark of a tree and tried to point it out to her family. And when she wasn't able to do so, when they couldn't see what she saw, she got frustrated. That day on the drive home, in the sky, she saw angels. She saw scripture written in the air. And she took over 40 photos of the blank sky and sent it to her family members saying, "Look, here it is. He's real. I've been chosen." At the same time, Tiffany experienced another powerful delusion, this one a persecutory one. In order to maintain my client's privacy, Your Honor, we've submitted some details of her social history to the court in advance. And I don't want to discuss those here, but I will say that based on her experience, some of the things she's been through in her life, a persecutory delusion and the nature that we're about to discuss, frankly, isn't so far outside of her experiences. In the days before the shooting, Tiffany became convinced that she and her sons were being targeted by a conspiracy of unknown and powerful people. She became completely convinced that this group was stalking them and that their goal was to abduct her and her sons, that they would separate them, sexually traffic them, rape, torture, and murder them.
What?
She was fully convinced that her beautiful, innocent, and amazing children would be dragged from her arms and subjected to every cruel horror before they were killed.
Yesterday.
She was certain that they were headed for a fate worse than death, and she was certain that it would happen soon.
Is this for real a reason to analyze?
On November 5th,
when
Tiffany visited her aunt and grandmother, she began that meeting by telling them that she was followed by police on the way to the house, that she had to throw her cell phone and her children's video game console out of the window because they were being bugged and monitored through those devices. The next morning, Tiffany's grandmother got a text from an unknown number saying, "It's Tiff, call 911, and later learned that Tiffany had run into a Family Dollar and told the clerk that somebody was chasing her, that she was afraid for her life and she needed to use her phone. In the video, you can see Tiffany jump up on the counter in Waffle House and wrap her arms around her younger son, Maurice. She later told Dr. Resnick that she had heard somebody in the Waffle House say his full name out loud, a stranger who could identify her son. And she knew in that moment that he must have been a part of the conspiracy. And so she jumped up to protect him and then realized it looked strange and was looking over her shoulder the rest of the time she was there. All through this process, Tiffanie tried to get help. While her mind was drowning in mental illness, unable to understand what was happening to her,
rehab.
Tiffany's soul still cried out for help.
Like, that's
You
what
saw her go
she
to her
could've
neighbor
done, right?
and ask that she pray with her. You know that she went to the stranger at Family Dollar looking for someone to help save her. She reached out to friends and family, but because she didn't understand what was happening, because she couldn't articulate what was going on, because her thoughts were scattered by this acute mental crisis, she couldn't tell them what was going on, and they didn't know how to help her. In those interviews, over and over again, we heard, I knew something was wrong, but I never thought she would hurt those kids. Tiffanie told Dr. Resnick that on the morning of November 8th, she received an Amber Alert, and that because the woman at the Waffle House the day before had a name tag that said Amber, she knew that this was a sign that the alert was meant for her and her children, and the people coming to hurt them were on their way. She told Dr. Resnick that she saw a police van in the neighborhood, and that's when she realized that there were more people coming than she could fight off. She didn't have a hope of saving her kids.
Nobody called the cops on her, right?
She kept her kids home from school that morning to keep them together. And when she heard sirens in the distance, in her mind, in that broken place, she thought that meant that they were on the way to the door and she was out of time. The neighbor's security footage picked up sounds of the gunshots. There were 4 fired. Tiffanie shot both of her children in the head in order to ensure they died as quickly, as painlessly as possible before turning the gun on herself. But as you heard, the gun jammed. Injuries on her hands are consistent with her trying desperately to clear the jam and not being able to do so. She even told police that she shot herself in the head because she didn't recognize the malfunction. She was so enthralled by this delusion, she never planned on walking out of that room. When she realized she was still alive and she couldn't get the gun to work, her broken mind couldn't formulate another plan, and she did the only thing she could think to do. She went outside to start calling for help.
Hey, Stella.
There's been a lot of publicity surrounding the case, a lot of misinformation, a lot of people left wondering why
Make a very good point, Stella B.
But we know that Tiffanie was psychotic. Her actions before, during, and after show that this event wasn't the product of a rational mind. There's no other motive. There's no plan.
I'm glad you hear Dragonfly.
The only question that still remains is why did this woman go through a psychotic break now? Why at this time?
Good question.
Tiffany's psychosis was brought on by addiction, but not in a conventional way. Dr. Resnick diagnosed Tiffanie with opioid-induced psychotic disorder onset during withdrawal. Essentially, Tiffany's psychotic episode was brought on by opioid withdrawal. She abstained from use, and in trying to get clean, this was the side effect. While they're dangerous in other ways, I'm not obviously here to advocate for the use of opioids in any way. They don't typically cause psychosis as a symptom. No other drugs were found in Tiffany's system, and Tiffanie testified to Dr. Resnick, told Dr. Resnick in the interview that she had been weaning herself off and had fully stopped about 10 days before this happened.
Don't blame the side effect.
Because it's so unusual for opioids to be the source of this issue, we consulted with another expert, a neuropharmacologist named Dr. Jonathan Littman, to have him explain to us what happened and understand better. We learned that in rare cases, a person who doesn't have an active psychotic disorder or these pre-existing mental health conditions may have some kind of secondary vulnerability, some dormant psychological fragility. And when that person goes through the physical and psychological discomfort of opioid withdrawal, it can trigger this secondary vulnerability and trigger the mental health crisis that we see here.
And I stand for mental health, trust me. You guys know
Tiffanie became addicted to opiates in the same way that many Kentuckians did. Years ago, she was prescribed them by a dentist following a procedure. And when the prescription ran out, Tiffanie continued to look for medication in the street. Years later, when fentanyl came out, it became cheaper and easier to get, and Tiffanie made the switch. Tiffanie had quit using many times before, every time for her children. When she found out she was pregnant with Jayden, she quit cold turkey and she carried him to term healthy. Jayden was born without drugs in the system and without any drug-related complications. The same was true for Maurice Jr. Then in 2018, Tiffanie lost custody of her children and she worked a program. And she quit again and she got them back. But like so many people,
she got clean by herself.
She would relapse.
I believe it, but she should have.
In 2019, Tiffany's family struggled. Tiffany's father died that year. And Jayden's father, Jayden Howard, was also killed.
Right.
He was taken from his home in Louisville while Jayden was present. And his body was later found.
But not to go.
But by 2023, Tiffanie was ready to quit drugs again and start over with her family. She was tired of having to hide from addiction from her kids. She was taking just enough at that point to keep herself from getting sick. And she had just gotten a job at a law firm, making roughly $30 an hour. Tiffany's bills had been paid by her boyfriend, but this was real financial independence, and she was excited for the chance to start over fresh with her kids. So she weaned herself off herself. She started taking lower and lower dosages, and then about 10 days before, she stopped completely. It's impossible to say what went wrong this time when she quit. If it's that she miscalculated and she tried to take it out of her system too quickly, or if it's because this was fentanyl instead of pills, or if it's because her brain chemistry had changed over time. It's hard to say. But Tiffanie unwittingly drove herself into the psychotic event trying to get clean. So we've discussed what happened and why, and that leads us with one thing left to talk about today, Your Honor, the reason we're here. What do we do now? What's a right and fair and just outcome in a case that's so tragic, where so many people have lost so much? Tiffanie loved her children. They were her world. And she didn't choose to be psychotic. She couldn't have predicted that this would happen as a result of her trying to detox. But Tiffanie also understands that it was her hand that held the gun, and her choices that brought us here today. We're not here today, Your Honor, looking for some kind of pass or for the court to absolve her of her guilt or to say, we're not here presenting a mental health defense. When Tiffanie signed the open plea, she knew that the question wasn't whether or not she goes to prison, but for how many decades. If the court gives Tiffanie a life sentence, then the parole board can hear her case once in 20 years and can decide to waive her case, to have her serve out, and never hear from her again. They can throw her away completely. But if the court gives her a term of years, no matter how high that term of years is, they have to reconsider. 20 years, 30 years, 40 years out, they have to reconsider, and they never have to take her. They never have to release her. She can either die in prison or she can live to see the end of the sentence. But somebody has to look. Somebody has to reevaluate the case.
And Your Honor, who knows what we'll know about mental health and psychosis and grief and addiction and the issues that brought us here today in 20 years and in 30 and in 40. Today, we're going to ask the court to consider a 35-year sentence, as we reasonably believe that that there may be some hope that some family may be out there still when she gets out. But we leave it in your hands.
Counsel, would you like for you to approach the bench? Mr. Baker, I'm going to ask you to come up here too, please. Come through to the left of the podium on this side, if you would, please, sir.
Here. Okay.
Come on up. Mr. Baker. When you're up there, please raise your right hand and face me. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Yes, sir. Thank you. Have a seat in the chair. Make yourself comfortable. Pull up to that microphone. Mr. Taylor, do you wish to question me?
State your name for the record, please.
Maurice Baker.
And what is your relationship to the young man who was murdered, Maurice?
This is my son.
Oh my
And
gosh.
would you like to tell the
Dad.
court how this has affected you?
It affected me in so many ways, kind of hard for me to explain. Especially due to the fact, ever since my son was born, I begged Tiffany for my son on so many different occasions because of drug use, the prostitution that she did, and the other way she had him in a harmful situation. I didn't just lose Maurice November the 8th.
He dated her. He knows. He's telling the truth.
I lost my son really the day he was born because ever since he was born, she held my son over my head. I begged her so many times to keep him out of harmful situations. Yeah, I cursed her. I threatened her. I did a lot. But only on behalf of my son. I begged her. She knew it. It's simple drug abuse. It's manipulation. I called around. There's not nobody in this courtroom I haven't called and talked from my family to her family that haven't heard about me asking for my son and wondering what was going on with him. She kept him from me for a year straight. So many birthdays he missed. I have a party planned. She never let me come. I begged her. The last message, the last time I texted her, I asked her, please, can I just talk to my son? She ignored me. I reached every day I reached out to her that I couldn't see my son.
I agree, Alan.
I'm asked to get the court give her the maximum punishment. I'll never see my son again. Jayden's family will never see them again. Anything less than the maximum punishment for her doing this to them will be unjust. They don't have a second chance. She chose to take drugs, put them in that situation. It was people begging for those kids, not just me as a father. It's aunties, cousins, her family members. Of course she had a breakdown. Methamphetamine does that. Opiates does that. You took the choice to do those drugs. I've been in prison before. I took for the consequence. Choices I've made, I suffer consequences. She needed.
consequence. She's always been able to manipulate. I want the judge to see her for what she is. She's a monster. I got phone records and I have a phone with me begging her to see my son. It wasn't a time that she couldn't have dropped my son off and gave him to me. She could have called me.
I agree, Top Cat.
I don't want her to be able to manipulate once again. You know what you are. I'm pretty sure if it's phone conversation for the jail, they know what you are. You chose to prostitute. You chose to do drugs. You hallucinated and killed them boys for no reason. Those two good kids. You don't deserve public defenders. You don't deserve sheriffs around you. That's all I got to say.
Any questions, Mr. Taylor? Any questions from the defense? Hold on, sir.
Mr. Baker? Mr. Baker?
Yeah, don't push the button. There you go.
I am truly sorry for your loss, and I hope you know that I mean that. I do need to ask some follow-up questions about some things that you just testified
Don't
to.
put him on the spot. It's not about
As part
him.
of this case, we
About
received
her.
discovery from the Commonwealth. They took the contents of Tiffany's phone, in which there were text messages and screenshots of text messages. You testified that you had previously threatened Tiffany, correct?
Yep.
Do you recall sending the following text message?
Oh my gosh.
Bitch, I'm gonna kill your son, fuck you. You think shit's a game like you forgot who I am. I'm 𝗟𝗃, bitch, and if you think I was fucked up to you before, just imagine what I'm gonna do now since I can't see my son. I'm rich, you broke ass loser bitch. You will never see your kids again.
Wow.
No.
No further questions, Your Honor.
I have hope. Tiffany has a good way to manipulate. You being her lawyer, I can see you
Your Honor.
sending the text.
Hold
message.
on, Mr. Baker.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, sir.
I believe that's outside the scope of questions.
Mr. Taylor, any questions?
No question.
He's not
Mr.
on
Baker,
trial.
thank you
Who
very much,
cares?
sir. If you would, please have a seat back in the courtroom where you were seated. Just walk in front of the podium here and around from this side, over here. Thank you. All right, does the defense wish to call any witnesses in response to that testimony?
No, Your Honor.
All right, is there anything else in closing then from the defense?
Nothing further.
Commonwealth's closing, Mr. Taylor.
Yes. Your Honor, here are the uncontroverted facts. On November 8th, 2023, Tiffanie Lucas committed an unspeakably brutal crime. The lives of Maurice and Jayden, two innocent little boys, were heartlessly taken by the person who should have been loving them and protecting them, their mother. In the space of a few terrible moments, the promising futures of Maurice and Jayden were forever snuffed out. And this horrible crime shattered the lives of the boys' family and friends, who have all been robbed, as you've heard today, of the opportunities to celebrate Christmas, celebrate birthdays, and the joy of watching Jayden and Maurice grow up. And there are young children in this family that were particularly protected. You heard that some of them cry themselves to sleep at night with some of the young men's stuffed animals. They no longer have a beloved friend or playmate. Tiffanie Lucas not only murdered Jayden and Maurice, but she forever scarred the lives of their family and friends, both adults and children. And I thank Ms. Baker for providing this. But as the victims all too well know, all that is left now are the memories and pictures of Jayden and Maurice. They are forever lost to their friends and family. And for this reason, the Commonwealth believes that the only just sentence that can be imposed is a sentence of life on each count of capital murder. Thank you.
Hey, good to see you. RMTY.
There have been references made by the defense to the defendant's association with God while she was acting. This is not a question of violation of the laws of God
Right.
or any religious belief. This is a question of violations of the laws of this Commonwealth, particularly statutory murder, which provides for a violation when someone with the intent to cause the death of another person causes the death of that person. Ms. Lucas, to her credit, has come before the court and has admitted to her conduct. She has entered a plea of guilty to 2 counts of murder.
That's right, great.
That involves the intentional taking of a life. Now, the court has considered mitigating conditions, aggravating circumstances as argued by the parties. The court has considered the contents of the file as well as recent filings that detail the defendant's position. The court will note that the defendant's act of killing were intentional and resulted in multiple deaths, in particular 2 children under 12 years of age. The law of this Commonwealth is clear. The statutory penalty for each of these counts is 20 to 50 years or life in prison. Mr. Donnelly has testified as to parole eligibility. Now, what I will say is this: Kentucky's method of incarceration for felony offenses is what's referred to as indeterminate sentencing. It can be somewhat difficult to follow if you don't deal with it every day. But ultimately, the court has to assume that the components of the judicial system, which includes the executive branch's parole board, will be followed by the law.
I'm hungry.
The duties and responsibilities of that board and what they do are to be determined by that board. This court has to assume they will do what is just and appropriate. What I have struggled with through this hearing today is a mother is more than the giving of life. It is providing food, clothing, shelter, but more importantly, love and security. I cannot imagine the sheer horror these children must have experienced seeing their mother with a gun. The sheer horror that second child had
Marcus.
as he heard the discharge of that weapon for the first child. And maybe even both of them seeing their mother pull the trigger, taking their life. At this time, the court will state for the record, the court has considered the probation pre-sentence report, arguments of counsel, the contents of the file, and no sufficient reason having been shown by judgment not be pronounced in sentence imposed. In case number 23 CR 404, Commonwealth of Kentucky versus Tiffanie Lucas, as to count 1, the court will adjudge the defendant guilty of the offense of murder and fix her sentence at life in prison. On count 2, the court will adjudge the defendant guilty of the offense of murder and fix her sentence at life in prison. This time, the court will order that the Sheriff's Department deliver the defendant to the custody of the Corrections Cabinet.
Wait, he didn't
service
say,
of her sentence of imprisonment.
He said possibility of
That's
parole.
all for today. Court will be.
I didn't hear him say that. I didn't hear him say that. She don't even look back. What a coward. Wait, did he say parole? Because I didn't hear that. And we're done. There we have it. Tiffanie Lucas sentenced. Let's go back to the slide that I made about her and the boys before I end the live. Yes, we do. I appreciate you guys for being here. Great group. I love you all. Here she is, mugshot. A picture of her and the boys in 2017. And there we go, April 3rd, 2018, May. And there they are again with her. There she is being a model. This PowerPoint and all the details of it are in part 1. So if you guys didn't watch part 1, you should start from the beginning. There's interrogation and body cam footage. And there's 2022. And there they are again, 2023. And this was Halloween, like 10 days or something before she unalived them. Not even 10 days. I think it was like a week. From this to shooting them in the head. So sad. Well, at least she's behind bars. I don't think that was good enough, though, in my opinion. Thank you, Augie, for gifting again. I appreciate you, friend. So much. Stella B, welcome to Milliverse. You got a membership. So what do you guys think? Mental health issues, drug issues, cold-hearted demon, all of the above? And she snapped. Yeah, she tried to claim it was the internet, Wi-Fi, and Facebook, and then she claimed she was insane, and then she pled guilty. Yeah. All of the above. Cold-hearted. Her whole life was basically online, yeah. So sad. But we finished. She's sentenced. I appreciate you guys for being here. Like I said, if you are not caught up on the case, I have part 1 and part 2 up with the interview, the interrogation, body cam footage. YouTube is to blame. That's next. Right. I'm surprised she didn't. Oh, geez. Thank you, Gracie. Appreciate you. So make sure you guys hit that like button. Yes, ATS, hit that like button. I might be back tonight with more true crime. If not, like I said, there's like 4 different cases I'm dying to cover tomorrow. So make sure you hit notifications. I'll be up early tomorrow to cover true crime. 2 new cases that people have not talked about online. And then I want to cover, I know everyone's dated out, but I've been covering the documents. So I want to finish covering them. Yay, Top Cat, thanks for being here. Thank you, beautiful 𝗵𝗃. No, Gracie, your photos are always beautiful. Thanks for being here, all of you. Mods, Augie, thank you for gifting. Welcome, new members. And Big Girl for Life, appreciate you too for gifting. Make sure you guys hit that like button, and I will probably see you either later on tonight or for sure tomorrow morning to talk more cases. I appreciate you guys all for supporting the channel. Thanks, Scott. Yes, hugs to all and love to all. Stay safe. I'll see you guys soon.
Thank you.